Hello and welcome to Meraki Unboxed. My name's Simon Thompson, host of the show. Thank you very much again for joining us on today's episode. We're obviously very aware that everybody is in a very, very difficult situation right now. We're doing our best with that to keep the lights on and keep things rolling here at Cisco Meraki. I'm actually talking to you from my own home office right now, and so sound quality might not be quite what you're used to on Meraki Unboxed. I don't have the fancy padded recording studio that I'm used to being surrounded by. So I've got a few cushions here trying to dampen the echo, but I don't think it's working. And you might also hear, the BART train that we have, the transit train that we have here in the Bay Area going by from time to time, but we'll try and ignore those and press on as best we can. So Meraki Unboxed is a podcast we do every couple of weeks, comes out normally on a Wednesday. And the last episode we did, we were talking to a tech partner about how they are leveraging our APIs to create a new business opportunity for them, but also, very importantly, to solve a very important problem, particularly in the higher education space. Today, we're shifting gears. We're going to talk a little bit about our wireless technology and provide you with a little bit of an update on that. We've had some announcements recently and some stuff in the news. And to help me walk through that, I'm very fortunate to be joined today by Mr. Scott Wierstra. Hey, Scott, how are you doing?
Hey, Simon, how are you?
I'm doing all right so far. We are making the best of this situation. Both Scott and I are working from home. Whereabouts are you working today, Scott?
I'm working from my house in San Francisco. As everyone knows, houses in San Francisco are generally small. So we've been adapting like Simon. So he has a BART. I have dogs and a wife in a small house, all working over WebEx.
I would say if this was a video thing, I'd probably ask for an introduction to the dogs, but who knows? Maybe we'll get a bark or two at some point during the thing.
There is definitely a risk of some barking.
All right, tell us a little bit about who you are. What do you do for us at Meraki?
Yep. So I've been with. So I'm Scott Wierstra. I'm the one of the wireless product managers on the wireless team. I've been with Meraki for almost 3 years now. So I've been in charge of driving our Wi-Fi 6 product line to market. So as everyone knows, we've obviously launched new access points over the last couple of weeks, which we'll get into in depth later on.
Yep.
And then the other initiative that when I first came on, we started was launching the Meraki Wireless Health. So getting more strategic and robust with our software offering to expand our market into more enterprise deployments and make it even easier to run large distributed networks.
And what's your background? What were you doing before you came to Meraki? How did this all come to pass?
So I am originally a software engineer. So actually, this is an interesting story. So I built a CMS before I knew they were a CMS because I didn't want to FTP files.
You're straight into the 3-letter acronyms here, Scott. I'm really impressed.
Yes. So I did not want to FTP things and update content on websites when I was running a website for a major university in Canada. Mm-hmm. So I built the CMS for the university so long ago I don't want to talk about it. Unfortunately, didn't know that a CMS could be a product or a company. So probably built a small startup within a company without knowing it at a very young age. Mm-hmm. Eventually moved to the Bay Area, worked for a camera company for a little while, and then was one of the first 20 employees at a startup that did fixed wireless. So our mission was to connect homes to the internet over wireless, so provide fiber-like speeds over wireless. So it was a fully cloud-managed platform that recently got acquired as well before joining Meraki.
That sounds like the perfect Meraki precursor then. You got the perfect lineup.
Yes. So I had broad experience in building a cloud networking platform from the ground up, built out a team to do that, and then had the opportunity for work from Meraki. Obviously, they were like one of our gold standards as a model as a startup.
100%. Yeah, it's been quite a ride, and the ride has gotten even more interesting in the last couple of weeks because what is it? It's coming up to 3 weeks ago. We were abruptly all sent home. We're all used to, for those of you who don't know, we're all used to working pretty closely in the Meraki office in San Francisco. and of course in our other offices around the world. And all of a sudden we had to shift. And so I think some of us have some experience working from home. I had done some of that in the past. But it was quite a change for everybody, and I'm sure for all of you listening as well, who are in the same situation, I'm sure. What's it been like for you, Scott?
It's been so I have worked from home in the past, so it hasn't been horrendous. I would say that there's places that are easier and places that are more challenging. So, for example, obviously at Cisco Meraki, our sales team is well versed in working remote, so it's pretty easy to adapt on that side. The harder side is doing R&D, getting together complex teams that are usually accessible on a one-on-one basis personally, is a bit of a challenge. So that's been an adjustment. So we've actually added some more structure. So instead of structure in managed ways, so not hour-long meetings, but having 30-minute, 20-minute meetings twice a week with like our core R&D stakeholder groups that used to be more ad hoc, but that's been a huge assistance. So I think we've adapted pretty well, all things considered.
Right, but and the challenge, I think some of it's to do with time management, right?
Oh yeah, and Simon hits a really good point. So one of the interesting things you have to monitor is like I think I've gotten better at it, but the first 2 weeks I was on WebEx from 8 a.m. until 6, 7 at night, every single night with no breaks. So
it's weird, isn't it? I feel in some ways I feel at least as busy at home as I am in the office, and I think that's partly for that reason. Is you can so easily just keep on going with this stuff.
So my pro tip is I start scheduling breaks. I'm fortunate enough to have exercise equipment in the house. So I've been taking an hour in the middle of the day randomly where it fits in the schedule to actually go get away from the WebEx.
And plus you have dogs, right? They presumably need some exercise at some point.
They do need some exercise, so you can get some fresh air.
Yeah,
go for a walk around the neighborhood.
That's been my daily thing. Like get out there every single day for some walking. It's like anything helps just to break it up. But it's just been super intense. I know WebEx. I heard some crazy figure that they're doing something like 100 million meeting minutes per hour. Right across the world, so it is insane right now, and we're very fortunate, of course, because we've got Meraki technology, most of us at home. So I'm certainly talking to you through that right now. I'm sure you're doing the same.
Yep.
What have you got?
Both I have a MX68CW and a MR46 and an MR36 at the back of the house, running mesh. I try to make sure I'm testing all use cases on our wireless product.
Absolutely, you've got to do that. It's one of the advantages, of course, working in product teams. You get all the toys to play with. So you've got CW, so that's a wireless product as well, right?
Yep. So it's the MX with wireless integrated. I actually don't use the wireless on it, to be honest, because I want to test the access points, but I do have the wireless enabled MX.
Yep. It's pretty cool, and I think one of the things we've been hearing for sure is that obviously the benefits we've been touting about Meraki for years are super helpful in this kind of really difficult situation where we can spin things up so quickly. I think the teleworking potential with some of those products is really good, and we're still limited by the service provider that's connecting you. I know my girlfriend was telling me about her Wi-Fi going up and down. I'm pretty confident it's not the Wi-Fi. I'm pretty sure it's going to be the service provider somewhere, and it's just super busy right now. Just amazing that the internet is working so well, keeping us all going.
Yeah, I would just to touch on that, both the WebEx team really working extremely hard right now to ensure that everyone can stay connected. As everyone shipped to video conferencing, is those guys deserve some huge credit. And the other part of that is on the service provider side. The internet is massively shifted from an at work demand to at home. So when working with customers, their demand at the corporate headquarters, the Meraki headquarters, almost no one's using it right now. but our at-home usage and VPN usage is through the roof.
Yes.
So we've really re-architected. It's a social experiment in re-architecting how the internet works right now, and it was done globally with zero planning ahead. Like, you can't plan for situations like this.
No, definitely not. I mean, it's amazing how some companies have reacted. I know Netflix and YouTube, they've dialed back some of their quality to try and help maintain the service that everybody's looking for. But it is, to me, it's amazing that the internet is just trying to imagine going through this without that right now. It is a hugely valuable asset for us all. I'm sure there are some ways in which we can help that within our own homes, especially if you think about situations where there are kids around who are notorious for absolutely hammering the Wi-Fi. What would be some of your recommendations and tips for using Wi-Fi within the home in this situation?
That's a great point. So obviously, running Meraki at home, there's a bunch of advantages of having an enterprise product in the house. We actually have quite a few of our staff members, quite a few of our customers running solutions at home. But like tips are, make sure you have good signal quality around the house. I think a lot of people don't understand that houses can be large. I know I live in a small SF house, but there are houses where you need repeaters, you need more than a single access point. So that's helpful. So make sure you do have robust coverage. If you're working from home, like, the best coverage is obviously close to the access point. So try to have it in your near your work from home location, whether it be your dining room table or office. And the other great thing you can do with our product is you can actually add policies that limit usage per user in your house during periods of time.
I've heard that story so many times with people excited about how they can stop their kids from completely hammering the network. It's probably more useful than ever right now.
Yeah. So through policy enforcement, you can do a good job of metering Wi-Fi usage in your home to the people who need it.
I also saw a funny thing in the news the other day. It's definitely true. It makes perfect sense, although I'm surprised that people are using the 2.4 gig Wi-Fi. So that's the older G, B Wi-Fi standards, and N, I suppose. The microwave oven. Did you see that one?
Yeah, they do. Microwaves do emit interference, so don't put your AV by your microwave, right. Or don't try to do a Skype. Don't put your Skype your phone by the microwave while doing a Skype call while you're popping popcorn
with your Bluetooth headset on at the same time.
Exactly.
Yeah, so, I think we all know this pretty well by now. So the recommendation really is to be all on 5 gig by now if you can, right?
Yeah. Other interesting things. So the interesting thing with this rapid transition is sort of brought back a Wayback feature. We call it like a original Meraki value prop, in that we actually allow you to tunnel your SSID back to your MX. So basically you get auto VPN like experience. So this allows you to you could have your kids on one Wi-Fi SSID, and you could also have, we could have Meraki Corp like SSID for doing your work calls without having to connect your VPN. It just makes a easier VPN management at home for bring your own devices and such.
Right, because it's a no-brainer. There's no setup required on the client side, right? In that setup, it's kind of encrypting, right, from the AP to the MX.
Yep, it's encrypted VPN traffic.
Yeah. Nice. All right. Well, let's shift gears and talk about what's new, because I know we've had some announcements recently. New access points. So talk us through the new models that we brought out.
Yeah. So on February 18th, wow, it's been 30 days, almost 29 or about 40 days.
We're losing track rapidly, folks.
Yeah, it's been long enough that I actually have to check my calendar. But we recently launched 3 new access points: the MR56, MR46, MR36. The MR56 is an 8x8 Wi-Fi 6 AP the 46 is a 4x4 Wi-Fi 6 AP, and the 36 is the first to market 2x2 Wi-Fi 6 AP for Cisco.
Mm-hmm.
And the pricing for those are $849 for the 2x2, $1449.
Wow, we're getting a complete catalog experience here. This is great, folks.
Yes. So I whipped through the catalog experience quickly here. But the exciting part of this is hot off the press. So just last week, these became Wi-Fi Alliance certified. So these are Wi-Fi 6 certified as of last week. You can look them up on the Wi-Fi Alliance website.
That's awesome.
So it's an exciting time.
Sorry, the standard was only ratified fairly recently, right? I mean, they've been talking about it for years, but I think the final ratification was, when was that? January?
I think it was December, January, or November. I can't remember the exact date. But it's very recent. So it's great to have finally get the certified APs available that our customers have been asking for.
Yeah, I bet that feels good. So Wi-Fi Alliance, that's the body that basically certifies all of the products for all of the Wi-Fi standards as they come along, right?
Correct.
Nice. All right. So the APs themselves, I mean, they are. I mean, you've got these different numbers and obviously different prices, but it's really about the number of antennas and radios that are built into those different APs. How do you describe the differences between those models?
Basically, with what they are is they're basically Wi-Fi 6. They're all Wi-Fi 6 enabled. The biggest difference is cell size and capacity. So by 2 antennas, it's great for lower density deployments. This is the MR36. It's a beautiful little AP, but if you need coverage you're not going to have 100 clients on the device running HD video.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great access point for that solution. So you still have pretty good range, but you're not going to have advantages of beamforming, et cetera, to drive the cell size up and the ability to have multi-user MIMO. The larger APs, the 46, you get that's a great classroom. I call it a great classroom AP. So if you're doing a K through 12 classroom with 30 students, it's a great AP for that environment. It has 4x4 on 2.4 and 5 gig. So one of the nice things with Wi-Fi 6 that always gets dropped is that on 802.11ac or Wi-Fi 5, 2.4 was actually 802.11n. So we've skipped a whole generation of standards on 2.4.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, there's not many clients running AX or Wi-Fi 6, but that's going to future-proof your network in that frequency as well.
They are coming along though, right? Because I think my iPhone, does my iPhone have it? I think it does.
They do. So that's a great question. So there are iPhones, there's Androids, there's laptops with it.
Yep.
As we're just getting our AP certified, as just previously discussed. So the interesting thing is, even as client vendors are future-proofing their clients, when in reality, a lot of the software features are not enabled across the board, but we're definitely seeing that migration. So there's more and more hardware being sold with Wi-Fi 6 capabilities. Mm-hmm. We'll start seeing the software functionality be turned on by all the client devices over the next 12 months. And I think by end of 2020 or 2021, we'll really start having the critical mass of new clients to really start taking advantage of the new Wi-Fi 6 features.
Right, and that's the thing. The next thing I wanted you to recap, because we did do a podcast episode on Wi-Fi 6 way back. In fact, it was our pilot episode where we talked about the benefits there. But it's been quite a while since then. I think a recap would probably be a good idea. So, like you say, the clients are gradually going to be turning on the capabilities that really take advantage of this new standard. So how would you walk us through, those benefits we're seeing?
Yep. I'm going to go through the two primary use cases that I think are going to be most measurable improvements. So the first one is, I think a huge part of Wi-Fi 6, they're bringing in LTE or 4G technology or 4G technology into the Wi-Fi paradigm, which is to allow for better VoIP experience. So
voice over IP.
Yeah. So we're seeing more and more people take Wi-Fi calls. So if you're in the office, people are they expect seamless roaming, Wi-Fi calls, lower latency. So as more and more people are moving to Wi-Fi calling and video chat and anything with like low latency requirements, is what the Wi-Fi 6 standard does. It introduced a new technology called OFDMA. So traditional Wi-Fi is single on, single off. So if I'm running I'm going to just go worst case scenario. I'm running an 80 megahertz channel, and Simon takes a voice call, and there's 10 other people in the room with Simon on that access point. He's going to take up the entire 80 megahertz channel for a minute amount of data. So with Wi-Fi 6, they split this into this is pretty technical, but sub carrier bands. So instead of being one road, we now go from like a 1-lane highway to like an 8-lane superhighway.
Oh, that's a nice analogy. I like that.
So all of a sudden you can have Simon, me, and Bob talk at the same time, and we'll just allocate some of that 80 megahertz for that transmission period to all of you. And that way you're way more efficient. So you're using your spectrum, and spectrum is a limited resource, efficiently, and you're solving a real customer pain point, which is I want a great voice experience over Wi-Fi.
Right. So the improvement is not so much in the voice quality; it's in the ability of the Wi-Fi capacity to scale up to support more users simultaneously, right?
Correct. So like, let's go. Hardest scenario would be like a call center. You could run it on Wi-Fi and see the same experience you get over LTE. Obviously, you still have capacity restraints, but you'll be able to use that spectrum efficiently for like a voice calling center. And then at the same time, and since traditionally small VoIP usage drives massive overhead on the AP. So if I have 40 users using VoIP and 3 users using video, those 40 users are using a ton of your capacity for like very little traffic. So all of a sudden you can dedicate more of your usage to the video traffic and get better video streaming. I can go download a new copy of Office onto my laptop and have VoIP running, and it's going to just be much more efficient.
Okay, so this is more than just voice over IP, because of course many of us now are using video conferencing technology of some description, where I'm sure many people who are listening to this will be using it on a daily basis to maintain their work in this situation we're in. So there are advantages there as well, even with video calling like a WebEx call.
Correct.
Yep.
Really, the objective with that technology is to use every bit of spectrum as efficiently as possible.
Right. Okay. So what else is there? There's definitely more to it than that, I remember.
Yes. So another cool feature is everyone complains about client device battery life. So clients, when you're using Wi-Fi, traditionally use more battery than over LTE, actually. And that's because Wi-Fi, you're constantly beaconing to know when you're going to receive packets. So the device is always waiting to receive. So it's like it's signaling, it's wasting batteries, signaling when I'm going to get packets, I'm going to receive packets or transmit to get into the queue for Wi-Fi. So with Wi-Fi 6, they've implemented a new technology called target wait time. And this actually schedules and tells the device when it's going to receive packets. So the device goes into sleep, it waits. And yes, this happens in milliseconds or seconds, but the fact that the device isn't constantly probing saves significant battery life. So on just the Wi-Fi side, I think it's up to 67% battery improvement.
Wow.
Saved on that part of the stack.
That's a big improvement, especially, I mean, we're so reliant on these mobile devices, and battery is constant. I mean, it's getting better all the time, but I know that's very variable out there. So there are some devices that can really take advantage of this. So the way you're describing it, it makes it sound like the traditional way is kind of dumb, because regardless of whether there's anything going on or not, there's communication happening to check to see if there's anything that needs to be communicated. And now it's going to be a little bit more intelligent by using this kind of scheduling thing.
Correct.
Okay.
And there's other, I think those are like the key use cases that we're solving. The other high level one that I'd like to talk about briefly is that Wi-Fi 6 also adds 8x8 solutions. So these, again, 8 streams, larger cell size, you can get more clients on it. It's just like a really high capacity. So those are for your convention centers, large classrooms. So if you're doing classes with 100 students or 200 students, like that's the sort of ultra high density AP that did not exist in 802.11ac.
And you get some better upstream performance, right? So the
correct.
Yes. So, go ahead.
Correct. So one of the things in Wi-Fi 6 is they've also done uplink multi-user MIMO and OFDMA. So this allows multi-user MIMO is basically if you have an AP, so you've got an 8-stream AP and I have a 2-stream client device, and we have 4 people, and we go in 4 directions from the AP can actually steer 2 beams to each of us so that we're simultaneously dedicated to that those antennas. So increases the capacity of the AP.
And the nice thing is now that it's upstream as well. So that was, I think, a development that happened in the last 12 months. And so the example I always think of for that is, I mean, it's an extreme example, but you imagine that you go to an event, and we'll get to do that again at some point. And you're enjoying a music event or something. There's a whole bunch of people there. They're all taking pictures. They're all uploading stuff to their social feeds. And now it's just going to be able to handle that kind of upstream mass capacity a little bit better.
Yep, it'll be. I wouldn't say you're going to see like a huge performance improvement, but it's going to be a performance improvement.
Every little helps. Every
little bit helps, and that sort of like touches on a fun use case we did last year. So we actually did the U.S. Open. So we did.
That's the golf tournament, right? I'm not a golfer, but
golf.
I think I've heard
Pebble
of that.
Beach. So we went to Pebble Beach, and the amazing thing is how much iCloud backup happens at an event. So most people have auto backup turned on their iPhone.
Right, yes.
And as people take photos, you think it'd be Instagram and Facebook and such. They were just phenomenal amount of photos being taken and automatically uploaded back to iCloud. So
that's a really good point. So whether you're social or not, you're still going to be seeing an advantage.
Yeah. So if you're running an event and you're a customer of ours, limit the iCloud bandwidth application through dashboard. It'll give you a better experience for most of your clients, because really they care about Instagram, Facebook, all that fun stuff.
Of course. No, that's a great point. I hadn't thought about that. So I'm always thinking about the active things that people do, but of course you're right. The same is true on Android with, I think Google Photos does this. It'll just it'll automatically back up your pictures as soon as you've taken them, and it'll use whatever it can to do it. So there's obviously a benefit there. The other thing I wanted to chat with you about was on the features side. So the APs are obviously, we're staying right on the bleeding edge there, and we've got the Wi-Fi 6 compliance and the Wi-Fi Alliance certification they're done now, so that's super awesome. I remember that a while back we introduced a feature called Wireless Health, which I think was a really nice way to help IT administrators get deeper into understanding the true source of a challenge with Wi-Fi experience. You want to talk us through what Wireless Health brought to us? Give it in your words.
Yeah. So I think, and this sort of like originated from my startup experiences, that anyone who's run a Wi-Fi network always gets blamed first. So Wi-Fi is the first point of blame. Hey, the Wi-Fi is broken. When in reality, it's actually rarely a pure Wi-Fi issue. It's usually somewhere configuration, network issue,
Yep.
DHCP lease issue, policy issue. There's millions of reasons, or not millions, but significant number of reasons that a network can have a issue. And one of the things I really drove when I joined Meraki was like, hey, we're sitting on this full stack solution with security. Oh, I am going to get a dog that's going to bark.
Yeah, I thought I heard a little dog wince there. That was cool. This is proof that this is recorded live, folks, and very much in the work from home era.
She's going to sit on my lap.
Okay, cool.
It's
what a shame this isn't video. I'm sure we'd all love to see it.
So anyways, back to that. So one of the value props that we have is we have security, we have routing, we have SD-WAN, we have switching, we have wireless. Was like, hey, we can pinpoint issues anywhere in the network stack across multiple locations. So if you're running 50 schools, 50 retail locations, 50 banks, it doesn't really matter. Like, how can we help users troubleshoot faster? And what I drove initially started with the wireless. So obviously there are challenges with being, like, we have almost 7 million devices online now. You have to be careful how you methodically move functionality forward. Like, I don't want to radically change dashboard in a way that's disruptive for our customers, but at the same time, we want to push in the direction we want. So what we wanted to do was, between firmware changes, dashboard changes, slowly enable dashboard to be more troubleshooting centric. Obviously, our goal is to make networking simple, easy to set up. Like, you shouldn't really have network issues, but when you do, like, let's make it really easy for you to take seconds, minutes to troubleshoot versus like looking through page after page of issues. So we started with a feature called Meraki Wireless Health. It instantly allowed you at a network level to see if you're having association issues, DHCP issues, radius issues. So can I authenticate? Can I get an IP address, or can I associate to the network? And at a per SSID level. So you could instantly find issues. Like, for example, I actually had a customer in for an EBC, and help ticket comes in. They're having issues. He opens a wireless health. This happened in real time. Opens a wireless health page. Their DHCP server was actually inaccessible.
Right.
So he fixed it in the meeting in like 2 minutes. He's like, "Oh, I love this feature. This is fantastic."
Genius.
So he fixed that. So what we're excited to talk about today is we've actually extended this feature. So there's three key use cases that we've enabled beyond this. So instead of just a wireless health solution, if you now go to the Meraki client page, so there's two types of issues. Like, let's just high level. There's like network-wide issues. So first phase was focused on network-wide issues. Do I have a network-wide wireless issue? The second phase is, do I have a client? So maybe Simon's the guy who always calls IT, and they're like, I have a problem, and it's really hard to troubleshoot. I'm like, do they have a coverage issue? Is it their desk? Is it something with their laptop? Maybe he has like way too many applications open or Chrome tabs open, so he has no CPU left on his laptop, so he has a bad network performance. So the second phase was focusing on the client perspective.
Interesting.
So on the client page, we now offer a full end-to-end view. So if you're using MR, MS, and MX, you can see a full stack of potential issues. Obviously, this is our first gate through this, so not all the issues we want are in this view, but already it's very powerful. You can see like errors on a WAN port or on a LAN port. You can go all the way into like Meraki Insights and see that like end-to-end solution in one spot. Its feedback's been fantastic, and we're rapidly adding new functionality to that.
So this was really interesting what you were saying. I mean, I think the great advantage I saw when wireless health came along was that now, as you said it, we are able to now say, okay, this isn't actually a Wi-Fi problem. This is actually a DHCP server issue. This is a DNS server issue. This is something else somewhere, related to perhaps performance of a server somewhere, and we're starting to bring that in together. These client side issues are really interesting. So how far have we been able to get with that? Because I guess that must be a little challenging with the interaction with the operating system on the client side.
So on the client side, we have not. It's sort of part of the vision statement, and like we want to leverage.
Right.
If you're an SM customer, it's things we'd love to get into over the next period of time.
Right.
But like if you're
manager.
using SM,
Yep.
systems manager is like a nice extension to it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So that's obviously an area where we're going to be able to continue adding more functionality as time goes by. So that's pretty nice.
Yeah. Yeah. So the building block is there. We can see like CCQ errors. You can see like if an Ethernet port is negotiated 10 megs instead of a gig or multi-gig. So maybe you have a cable issue.
Right.
You can instantly see that right now
in
dashboard.
I remember from my time as a network engineer that, in fact, I had a mantra that when I was troubleshooting, I always start at the physical layer. Like it's so many times it's a kinked cable or an issue somewhere there or with the Wi-Fi. So this sounds like this is definitely going to help the IT admins out there get to grips with stuff even faster.
Yep.
Okay, well, that sounds pretty exciting. Maybe we should just think about where we go from here, because this sounds like a journey. I know that with the with Meraki Insight as well, which is a really it's a different product, but still obviously part of the Meraki suite. We're able to essentially troubleshoot all the way from the cloud-hosted server application through the wide area network and into the LAN, and now all the way to the client device. At every stage, we're able to identify what the potential cause of a depleted experience is. So how do we take it forward from here? What are you working on? What have you got cooking in the kitchen right now?
Yeah, so I get cooking in the kitchen. So what's coming up is we are about to, in the next couple of months, release a new major firmware release, which is one of the things we wanted to do is make sure we have more metrics available that have not been available for troubleshooting. So this is more of the nerd knobs, I'd call it, but deep wireless metrics for monitoring and seeing roaming issues or signal strength issues or coverage gaps in your deployment, and also being able to couple those with configuration changes and environment changes in your network.
Right.
So that's like coming up in the next couple of months. And the one other feature that I think is pretty awesome that is part of the full end-to-end health solution and a huge advantage of Dashboard again is we now have historical client connectivity on the client page.
Mm-hmm.
So this would be if Simon went and looked for his MacBook on Dashboard in the Meraki corporate office, he would see that he has not been there for 3 weeks.
Because he's working from home.
Exactly.
Right.
But if he was there, it would show him which APs he connected to, what each day Simon's like network experience was like. So you could find common. So if Simon was always complaining about issues, you'd be like, oh, he's spending most of his time at this AP. Let's go take a look at like why this AP is giving issues. And that's where like the future troubleshooting is like, okay, when I get a nuanced issue, can we enable the customer to get more details into what's causing that issue?
Right.
Specifically.
And actually, I mean, as you were saying that, I was picturing the IT administrator in that situation. Simon's the one who's always calling IT and complaining about things, but maybe, just maybe, he's not crying wolf this time. And you would be able to look at other clients presumably associated with the same AP or in the same physical area to identify if there's a common issue others are seeing as well.
Correct.
Yeah.
So that's like the major drive is obviously there'll be more Wi-Fi 6 platforms coming out over the next while, and then we'll also have new major firmware coming out.
All right, so there's plenty cooking in that kitchen, as well as in the Wierstra household as lunch is getting prepared, no doubt.
Correct. While we're still shipping from home is what I like to call it.
Right, there you go. And that's pretty impressive. I mean, I can definitely I think for every team out there, whatever company you're working for right now, it's definitely a challenge trying to keep things as business as usual as possible for everybody. So we definitely feel for you. We're all together in this situation. It's great to hear that despite the challenges, we're doing our best to keep the development going on at Meraki with new both hardware and software, so we can keep improving the experience that folks have with their IT. Scott, I want to thank you very much for taking some time out. I know it's challenging right now. We're both in these weird situations, and everybody, please forgive us for all the kind of background noises you hear. Maybe apart from the dog, that's quite a nice one. I like that one. We need more dog sounds on the podcast, I think. Maybe we should. Maybe you could record some for us, and I can use them like a jingle or something.
We are a dog-friendly office, so
this is true.
I just doubled down on dogs today.
I think the dogs and other pets in our lives must be super happy right now with us being around so often. I've seen quite a few funny videos on YouTube to that effect. So I know it's a pretty common experience right now.
But yes, stay safe, everyone, and we'll keep shipping and solving your problems.
There you go. You heard it first from Mr. Wierstra. We'll hold him to it. Okay, thank you very much, Scott, and thank you all as well for joining us on today's podcast episode. This has been Meraki Unboxed, and like I said, we bring these to you every couple of weeks. We'd love to get your thoughts on some episodes you'd like us to participate in or to run for you. If you'd like to be part of an episode, love that as well. We're all set up for doing this now, especially now we're working from home. We just did this with Scott over Skype. So we know we can do this with anybody. So if you please would like to let us know what your thoughts are, you can do that in a couple of ways. If you go to community.meraki.com, you will find that there is conversation opportunities for you there, and you can give us some feedback about the podcast or really anything else to do with your Meraki experience there. Alternatively, you can reach out to me directly online. I'm on Twitter all the time, and you can find me there at Meraki Simon. At Meraki Simon is my handle on Twitter. Okay, so we'll wrap things up now. Scott, thank you once again, and to the dog as well. And hope you all have, do your very best in this situation. Like I said, we're all in it together, and we will get through this. So just hang in there, and we'll keep bringing these to you. So please stay tuned. We'll see you again soon on Meraki Unboxed. Bye for now.